In the heart of the Maasai Mara, love blooms between two souls destined to defy the ancient traditions that bind them. Love Against Tradition tells the story of Nia and Ero, two young Maasai warriors whose forbidden love shakes the foundation. Nia, a spirited, compassionate young woman betrothed to a wealthy elder she does not love. Ero, a brave and idealistic Maasai warrior who values love and integrity above societal expectations. Chief Baraka, the clan elder determined to uphold tradition, a cunning, manipulative figure who sees Nia's arranged marriage as a political advantage. Lena, Nia's cousin and confidant, who supports their secret love while struggling with her own loyalty to the clan. The air was heavy with the smoke of the ceremonial fire, and the village bustled with excitement. Elders adorned in richly beaded necklaces and vibrant shukas stood in a circle, their faces lined with wisdom and tradition. Nia, dressed in a resplendent red shuka and adorned with a necklace her mother had gifted her, felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her shoulders. "Today we strengthen our bond with Chief Baraka's lineage," announced the village elder, his voice echoing through the gathered crowd. Cheers erupted, but Nia's heart clenched. She stood beside her parents, her head bowed, hiding the tears that threatened to spill. In the distance, Ero, leaning on his spear, watched silently. His jaw tightened as he saw the anguish on Nia's face. This wasn't love. It was a transaction, a tradition he could no longer respect. That night, as the village celebrated, Nia silently slipped away, her feet leading her to the one place she felt safe. The acacia tree stood like a sentinel under the vast starry sky, its branches spreading wide as though shielding the lovers beneath it. Nia leaned against the rough bark, her fingers nervously tracing the beads of her necklace. Ero appeared silently, his steps soft but deliberate. "You shouldn't have come," Nia whispered, though her voice betrayed the relief she felt. "I couldn't stay away, not when they're trying to take you from me," Ero replied, his voice low but firm. He reached into his shuka and pulled out a bracelet made of carefully threaded red and white beads. "As long as you wear this, Nia, you are mine in spirit, no matter what they say." Nia took the bracelet, her eyes shining with unshed tears. They talked in hushed tones, their words mingling with the distant calls of hyenas. Each meeting was a gamble, but for them, it was worth every risk. Jealousy is a quiet poison. Olani, a warrior who had long harbored feelings for Nia, couldn't bear to see her slipping away. He had seen them, Nia and Ero, meeting under the acacia tree, exchanging whispers and promises. It gnawed at him until he could no longer stay silent. One evening, as the village prepared for another feast, Olani approached Chief Baraka. "I bring you news, one that dishonors our clan," he said, his voice laced with false loyalty. Baraka listened intently, his expression hardening with every word. The next morning, Nia and Ero were summoned before the elders. The whispers in the village grew louder, their love story now a scandal for all to dissect. "You dare defy the traditions that bind us?" Chief Baraka roared, his voice shaking the gathering. Nia and Ero stood hand in hand, their love defiant even under the weight of judgment. The village square was alive with tension. Elders sat in a semicircle, their faces grim. Villagers surrounded them, their expressions a mix of curiosity, judgment, and sympathy. Chief Baraka paced before the gathering, his voice booming. "They have broken the sacred covenant. Nia was promised to me, a union to strengthen our people. And this warrior, this boy, dares to claim her?" Nia stepped forward, her voice steady. "I am not a prize to be bartered. My heart belongs to Ero, and no tradition will change that." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ero squeezed her hand, his strength flowing into her. The elders deliberated, but the crowd's murmurs began to shift. Baraka's authority, once unshakable, began to falter as whispers of rebellion spread among the younger villagers. Under the cover of darkness, Nia and Ero fled the village. The savannah stretched endlessly before them, a vast expanse filled with both promise and peril. The ground was uneven, and shadows danced in the moonlight, masking dangers. At one point, they stumbled upon a pride of lions feasting on a recent kill. Ero motioned for silence, his spear gripped tightly as they inched their way around the predators. By dawn, they reached the edge of the Mara River. Its swift currents were treacherous, but there was no turning back. Holding hands, they plunged in, fighting the icy water together. As Nia and Ero planned their return to the village, they carried not just the scars of their escape, but also newfound knowledge that could dismantle Baraka's control. On their journey, they had stopped at a neighboring village, one that had once been closely allied with their own. There, they encountered elders who spoke of Baraka's betrayal, a secret he had hidden for years. "Baraka came to us for help," one elder revealed, his voice heavy with regret. "He promised us trade in exchange for livestock, but instead, he sold our cattle to distant traders and kept the wealth for himself. When we confronted him, he threatened war and severed our alliance." The tales of Baraka's deceit multiplied. He had taken gold meant for the community and hoarded it in a hidden cave near the Mara River. He had falsely accused innocent villagers of theft to maintain his grip on power, forcing families to live in shame. Worse, he had manipulated ancient traditions, using the guise of arranged marriages to consolidate his power by claiming the daughters of influential families. This knowledge gave Nia and Ero purpose. Armed with this truth, they returned to their village, knowing it would spark outrage, but it was necessary to free their people. In the heart of the village square, as the crowd murmured with unease, Nia and Ero faced Chief Baraka. Ero's voice rang out, steady and resolute. "Baraka, you speak of tradition, but your actions have betrayed the very essence of it. You have stolen from our neighbors, turned our alliances into enmities, and robbed this village of its dignity." Baraka's face darkened, but before he could respond, Lena, Nia's cousin, stepped forward. She held up a piece of parchment, an old trade agreement signed by Baraka. "This document proves your deals with the traders in Narok. You took our cattle, sold them, and kept the wealth hidden for yourself." Gasps rippled through the crowd. One elder stepped forward, his voice trembling with anger. "You dared to accuse my grandson of theft to cover your crimes. My family lived in shame for years because of your lies." Another voice joined, then another, until the square roared with accusations. The villagers, once bound by fear, now stood united against Baraka. Desperate, Baraka tried to defend himself. "I did it for the good of the village, to ensure our survival," but his words fell on deaf ears. Ero raised his hand, silencing the crowd. "Survival does not come from deceit. Tradition does not thrive on greed. It is love, honesty, and unity that will carry us forward." The elders conferred briefly before delivering their verdict. Baraka was stripped of his title and banished from the village. His power crumbled before their eyes, leaving him a shadow of the once mighty chief. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the villagers turned to Nia and Ero. Their love had not only triumphed, but had also exposed the corruption that had plagued their community. The couple stood embraced, the warm glow of the sunset reflecting the hope and change their courage had inspired. The downfall of Baraka was a lesson for all, that tradition without integrity is a cage, and power without love is a burden. Nia and Ero's love not only triumphed but uncovered the truth, setting their people free from fear and deceit. Love, they proved, is the truest tradition of all. As the sun sets over the golden plains of the Maasai Mara, we're reminded that love, when pure and true, can break even the strongest chains of tradition. Nia and Ero's journey has shown us that courage, unity, and resilience can triumph over greed and betrayal. Thank you for joining us on this epic tale of love against tradition. If this story moved you, inspired you, or kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who loves a powerful love story. Subscribe to Tribal Tales by Iman and become part of our family of dreamers and storytellers. Tap the notification bell so you'll never miss the next captivating African love story. And before you go, tell us in the comments, what did this story mean to you? What would you do for love? Let's keep this conversation going because every voice matters in the story of love and life. Stay tuned for more tales that will make your heart race, your mind wander, and your spirit soar. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep loving, and keep telling your story.